We have the Scottish Conservatives around 6 minutes.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. It's always interesting to know which Labour Party will turn up for a debate. And I think we very clearly can see which Labour Party has turned up today. And for all the years I've known Richard Leonard, I do salute his steadfast commitment to those socialist principles of overturning the bourgeoisie and establishing a People's Republic. But let me begin with this. The Scottish... Indeed, don't encourage him, please. The Scottish Conservatives do not disagree with the ambition that ministers claim lies behind community wealth building. Stronger local economies, vibrant high streets, genuinely resilient communities are aspirations that we should all support. Our disagreement is not about the principle, it's about the method. And the method set out in this bill is flawed, limited in ambition and weighed down by bureaucracy. Presiding Officer, when I listen to the government speeches generally, and indeed certainly to the Labour Party speeches from the leftist parties in this place on community wealth building, what strikes me most is the astonishing lack of scale and vision, and in some cases a connection to reality. Too often we hear community wealth building spoken about as if a handful of small contracts awarded to a handful of small organisations represents some great leap forward in economic transformation. It is nothing less than box ticking. It's small ball economics. It's hardly a strategy for rebuilding Scotland's prosperity. Now, community cafes, volunteer-led woodlands, social enterprises are all valuable contributions to civic life, but they should not be the ceiling of our ambition. Scotland cannot content itself with a narrow circular economy of micro-contracts passed around a small number of actors. We must be bolder than that. We must harness the full entrepreneurial spirit of the Scottish people if we are to build a genuine national wealth and community wealth. And that's why the 5 pillars do matter, not as slogans, but as levers for a genuinely ambitious economic strategy. And there's been a lot said about procurement. Anchor institutions can and should be playing an important part in reshaping the Scottish economy at its foundations, supporting productivity, capability and scale, not simply rewriting procurement guidance. Procurement should be strategic and not performative. Unemployment. Better jobs come from investment, innovation and productivity, not from state mandates or new duties. Growth improves wages. You can't tax your way to growth, Richard Leonard. Bureaucracy depresses them. On land and property, the Scottish state, the largest landowner in the nation, is sitting on unproductive assets. If ministers were serious, they should release land for productive use by those who can create jobs, investment and prosperity. Instead, we get more frameworks. On ownership, cooperatives and social enterprises have a role, but they are not inherently superior to private enterprise. The government's ideological tilt risks distorting procurement and squeezing out the very businesses that drive Scotland's tax base and innovation. On finance, we should be unlocking real investment, modernising pension structures, empowering, yes, local financial institutions like credit unions, and supporting capital formation across Scotland. But none of that requires this bill. The government has the power now to do these things. And that, Presiding Officer, is the problem. This bill does not do the things that genuinely build wealth. Instead, it does what this government so often does. It creates new duties, new partnerships, new statements, new plans, new reporting cycles, new ministerial powers. It centralises and it prescribes. It expands ministerial discretion while offloading obligations onto public bodies that are already stretched to breaking point. The bill demands action plans, but with no obligation to demonstrate results. no requirement to show improvements in productivity, business growth, wages or investment. Compliance is measured in paperwork, not outcomes. And Scotland's had enough of government by process. Local authorities, health boards, colleges, enterprise agencies all warned the committee of these substantial new burdens. And yet the financial memorandum claims the cost will be minimal. It's simply not credible. Obligations without resources, responsibilities without clarity, expectations without realism. And let me say this plainly. This bill hands ministers sweeping powers to issue binding guidance, revise national statements at will, and add public bodies to the statutory regime with limited scrutiny. That is not decentralisation. That is expansion of state power through the back door. If we have real ambition, if we have real vision, Scotland can be a genuine leader in community wealth building. Not the limited bureaucratic version set out in this bill, but a model that unleashes the full entrepreneurial capacity of the Scottish people. The framework before us contains elements we can support, and that's why we will be voting for it at stage one. But let's be honest, as drafted, it's far too narrow, far too process-driven and far too centralised to deliver the transformation ministers claim. In conclusion, real community wealth is not created by another statutory plan, another set of ministerial powers. And I think the Minister knows this. It's created by investment, enterprise, the productive use of land, competitive procurement, and the hard graft of growing businesses. It is created when government steps back from ideology and steps up to support innovation, skills and local success. Only when we couple the principles of community wealth building with the natural entrepreneurship of the Scottish people will we see gains in productivity, investment and prosperity that Scotland urgently needs. Presiding Officer, that is the challenge before the government as we move to the next stage. And if ministers meet that challenge, then this Parliament can turn an underpowered framework into something worthy of Scotland's potential.
Thank you, Mr Kerr. And I now call on Minister Ivan McKee to wind up